records actually show that in comparison to growth stocks, dividend paying stocks and index funds have actually outperformed growth stocks in the longer term. Hello everyone, this is Ronan Blue, just taking my daily walk here today. And today's topic is on, so you don't know how to invest. So obviously there's a lot of people who don't know how to invest. 15, actually more than 16 years ago, that was the same case for me as well. But ever since that time, you become somewhat of a knowledgeable for what to do. And right now, from what it looks like, the millennials and also Generation X are making brokerage accounts in record numbers. So there's a huge backlog of account approvals right now. Makes sense with all of the free money out there, with the government interest rates, or the Federal Reserve saying that the interest rates will remain at 0.25 basis points probably till the end of 2022. But because of that, everyone's rushing into creating these brokerage accounts to take advantage of the yields, possible yields they can gain, as well as, you know, purchasing growth stocks as well. But this will probably be the next bull run in the next 10 years, just like what happened there in 2008. You know, they did almost the same thing. They cut the interest rates to very low levels to you know, boost up the economy. And what happened was there was an initial increase, then decrease, and then a skyrocketed market for the next 10-year period. So it's potentially possible that this stimulus will have the same effects. So it looks as though the best place to keep your money would definitely be the stock market. And unfortunately, the savers will be punished for this. And although I do have rental property as well, this vlog will be strictly just about the stock market and how you can, you know, start investing, and what some of the options you might have that we used over the years. And we've actually invested into multiple things. You'd probably be surprised. We actually even went as far as investing into crypto, but I'm not, you know, not investment advice. Just listen to all of what I'm going to say for entertainment purposes only. So this is what we've done over the years in investing. So you want to first look at the very basics of investing, and that would be into the 401k, the Roth IRA, the HSA. You know, a lot of the investment vehicles that many of us know of already. So one thing you want to really focus on is the company matching 401ks, and it's an excellent choice for many people, because depending on the company that you work at, sometimes they give you a percentage or sometimes double it. So it's well worth it, right? So let's say you decide to deposit $1,000 through that program, through that company program. The company will match it and double it up for you. So if you think of it from that perspective, it's free money, and it's a great plan. The reason being is because, well, the pension plan has been disappearing. When you think of pensions, you think mostly government benefits, but some corporations, big corporations, blue chips with employees of over 500 sometimes have those pensions, but those are slowly disappearing. So it's actually really your responsibility now to you know, figure out what your investments plans will be in the future. So one of the programs that they have to offer would be the company matching 401k, and yeah, it's great. It's free money. But one option that I highly recommend that you invest into would be index funds. And for that one there, you want to figure out what, you know, have a balanced portfolio of diversification for that. So essentially what index funds is just a basket of a whole bunch of different companies, sometimes up to like 20 or more, or even 100. So it actually acts as like kind of a buffer, right? And all of these companies within that basket has their separate yields, dividend yields that they distribute, so it gets evenly distributed in that entire basket. So if one particular company, let's say, cuts their dividends, because you have so many companies within that one basket, you don't feel that difference. So that's what's advantageous about the index funds. And usually what you want to do for index funds is you want to get one index fund that represents your entire country, or you want buy index funds for another country, like in Asia, for example, where it's economically booming, and also one that has a whole bunch of bonds as well. So with that mixture, which we have, creates a well diverse account portfolio for you for the longer term. But of course we had growth stocks as well, but we mainly focused on dividend paying stocks for the longer term. So our portfolio is essentially 90% dividend based and 10% high risk growth stocks. So it made a good little balance. And but some say when you're younger you should be focusing more on growth stocks, but we just found it really depends on your risk appetite, right? Whether or not you're willing to risk all of that from a younger age. Yeah, I mean, I dealt with penny stocks as well. I did well for some of them actually, but not so well for others. So there are other options out there, but we found that the best solution for us was the longer term dividend paying stocks you get from individually selecting dividends, as well as those index funds as well. So it made a pretty solid combination today, even during this pandemic, right? The stock market, insanely, as everyone can see, there's a huge disconnect between what the markets, how the markets are doing compared to Main Street, where all the jobs are. So you can see, but then, you know, there's price manipulation there, as we all know. We kind of see that the markets are fake. You know, especially with the governments of the world, the central banking system that are flooding the system with QE stimulus and buying equities and bonds and mortgage-backed securities, and you know, it's artificially propping up the market. So they're doing everything and everything to make sure that the system doesn't fail. So from that perspective, really the only place where you can invest would be the stock market. But going back to the 401k, you know, the reason why you want to put it into the 401k or the Roth IRA is to take advantage of those tax benefits you get. So yeah, it's definitely a tax shelter to do so. And if you have an account where you can choose the stocks individually, that's great. Another reason why you want to keep it, you know, your investing strategy as longer term is you want to think of it as records actually show that in comparison to growth stocks, dividend paying stocks and index funds have actually outperformed growth stocks in the longer term. So, and there's that feeling of security as well. But the thing is, you'll need to wait like 10 to 15 years for you to actually start seeing that momentum. It does take a lot of money initially, and it's slow to start with. You might not see the immediate effects of investing longer term, but once you reach about $100,000, that's when it starts really rolling in. It becomes a lot more faster as well. So you want to think of it as, you know, in a 10-year period, and if you had a yield of, let's say, 6 to 7%, you can actually potentially double up your overall balance that you have in your account. So that $100,000, if it had a yield of 6 to 7%, you can actually have around $200,000 in 10 years. But that's given circumstances where you pick the right, you know, stocks in your portfolio, and but the potential is there in comparison to, let's say, yields of a savings account. You know, nobody wants to put their money into a savings account right now because the interest rates are so low. Levels at 0.25 basis points, which is essentially nothing. So I mean, there's going to be those who will just still keep their money in their accounts, but in the end, it's just going to be eaten away from inflation. But if you want to do invest into bonds, for example, it really depends on the percentage, your age in which you want to invest into bonds. Like, for example, if you're 20 years old, it's recommended that you put about 10% of your income into bonds. If you're 30, you want to keep 20%. You're 40, you want to keep 30%, and if you're 50, you want to keep 40% of your income into bonds. So you want to have an even distribution within your portfolio to even it all out. So it's always good to have that diversification of your stocks, your bonds, you know, and we have real estate as well. So I mean, that's kind of an added benefit. A lot of people actually have either stocks or real estate, but for us, we just like diversification. So we have it in everything. Like we have it, we have rental property, and the mortgages are actually paid off completely. So we have no debt. So all of that surplus we get at the end of the month actually gets reinvested to grow our stock portfolio. But another great thing about dividend investing is that individually selecting stocks anyways, like we have, is that if the company has really good earnings season, they usually increase their dividends, so which is awesome. I've selected many good companies over the years, and they're giving me very steady income increases every year. So that's another benefit of you know, having to invest longer term in dividend paying stocks, because these companies usually are ahead of inflation. They always try to increase the dividends on an annual basis, so it becomes a very good stable amount of income, and it grows exponentially every year. It's awesome, and you don't have to think too much about it either, because all you have to do is hold it. And when you hold it, you get that yield come into your account every month or every quarterly or every year. But it's great having to get all of that. But of course, there's a lot of people right now, because the interest rates are so low, and borrow money, right? It's almost like free money right now, and just to jumpstart the economy, right? So it's going to be like that for the next 2-year period, according to the US Federal Reserve. So through the right qualifications, you can borrow quite a lot of money. And what people are doing is they're borrowing money and they're putting it right into the stock market, inflating it. But what you definitely want to do is you want to invest consistently as well. You want to create a routine. So let's say you do get a paycheck on a bi-weekly basis or a monthly basis. You want to routinely invest a portion of it directly into your brokerage account. So it's almost essentially like paying yourself first. But the thing is, if you do it manually, you tend to forget, right? So you can actually set up certain features where you can automatically deduct a certain percentage out of your account to go directly into your brokerage account. So that's an option as well. So but of course, your company matching 401k, they do it for you automatically, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so for your own personal brokerage account, you can go ahead and automate those payments, and you'll see the dividends grow exponentially. But you have to actually log into your brokerage account and start buying stocks. So everyone has their different numbers for early retirement, and we had our number as well. And the way that we calculated it out was simply by using some simple rules, the 4% rule. And essentially how that works is you take your monthly expenses and multiply it by 12, so you get your annual total. And once you get the annual total of all the expenses that you spend, you multiply that by 25. So some people actually multiply it by 30. You know, it really depends on you, but 25 I think should be efficient enough. And then once you get that total entire amount, then you hopefully you have that invested into some assets. You definitely have to, and you withdraw 4% from it on an annual basis. So that's essentially what we're doing right now, and for the last close to 4 years now. And all the surplus that comes in, we just reinvest it, and it's fantastic, right? And with a combination of, you know, all of our debts being gone, and also living as minimalists as well, so not depriving ourselves at all. It's almost like temporary right now, but we're so used to this minimalist lifestyle that we're not really questioning whether or not we're being deprived or not. It's a great feeling. I mean, we were able to travel to all these different countries, and we're going to travel to even more. So we essentially don't need those traditional jobs anymore, right? So we definitely do not have traditional jobs, and we're actually trying to build our side hustles, like this YouTube channel, and all in combination. We're going to be spending later in life once our pot grows larger and larger. So as long as we're ahead of inflation and we see positive growth, and keep our expenses down, then I think we're in pretty good condition. Even by age 65, I mean, we're not really relying on Social Security. We probably won't get the full percentages that most people would be getting if they hit the age of 65. But that's okay. We're not really relying on Social Security, and if it does come, we're gonna make it so it's some kind of a bonus for us if we get any. So, well, I think I'm on my vlog here today. Tell me what you think of the ways in which you can figure out how to invest in the comment section below. I know that I wasn't able to cover everything here, but if you watch my channel, I have several resources you can refer to on how you can invest yourself. And maybe you have some suggestions of your own, just comment below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thank you for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.